Round of just the saxophone.
Welcome! We are TableGoth, a group of tabletop gaming enthusiasts and gothic aficionados. And today we are here to talk about LARPing? Specifically, The Night in Question by Jackalope LARP, which we drove 14 hours to Texas to participate in, and we're feeling just fine. None of us have done this before, even though everyone there so did a very good job.
They were like, wow, have you been doing this for years? And we're like, no. And they
Hours. Yes, that was the conversation every time.
And then they crowned us
Somebody told me they wanted to
LARP
pee me
champions.
Counselor of like the LARP council.
Like camp counselors?
Yes.
That's the highest honor we could get. We couldn't be like the best, but we could be like a camp counselor level of good.
Either way, we're going to go through what happened that weekend, get into our characters, get into what happened to the LARP specifically. We're going to try to do this just half chronologically. A lot happened, so I feel like it's easiest to just break up into this happened, then this happened, then this happened. So, for doing the experience as a whole, we got to start with the character workshops, which we barely made it to on time on Friday, which I think we all thought was like an informal hangout, talk to people, set up some character things, and it was not. But it was really good. It was super structured, led by Matthew, the leader of everything, Jackalope. And he broke everyone up, did different sort of like character building exercises, and
yeah, don't worry about that.
I thought it was her.
Sorry, there might be some bubbling. It's beer, don't worry about it.
I thought your dog threw up.
Beer's so tight. I love beer.
I'm super cool, I do things.
But yeah, I think all of us were pretty nervous or uncomfortable going in.
Oh, super nervous.
And at least to me, I thought the workshop really helped to alleviate a lot of what I was worried about.
I was really nervous that like these people were gonna be like even anywhere close to my talent level, and then got there and realized, whew, I'll be the star. It's fine.
Say something nice. You're such a dick.
It was nice.
Jorge voice.
Set up a lot of cool character stuff.
That was
like
good.
Relationships that I actually got to use at the LARP, so that was cool.
Yeah.
With like not the 4 people I drove down there with.
Yeah, I think we were kind of fortunate. Me and Zach both got like character connections kind of manufactured that were within our own gang. So it made the gang dynamics kind of fun, and that was like the people we spent most of the time with.
Do we want to say what groups we were in?
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well, he spoiled it, so.
Yeah, he's got a structure. So bad.
But yeah, that was the first part. Honestly, I wish. I don't know how long it was, but that I would have been fine with being longer, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of people got a lot out of that.
It was 5:30 to 7.
4:30.
I think it was 4:30. We showed up.
We showed up
late,
at 5:30, but that's when it started.
It actually started late. I don't know. It was weird, but it was really cool.
That's right. Yeah.
We showed up right on time.
Yeah.
It sounded like right as we walked in, it was starting.
They were
dividing
just
up.
about to
They closed the doors right after we got in.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
perfect.
The hour before, I think, was people arriving and some people registering.
People were still arriving.
Some other stuff, but the activities didn't start till we just got there.
Either way, I think it would have sucked if we didn't go to that.
Yeah.
Well, not sucked in general, but it was so much better that we went to that.
It's
Even though it's not
definitely,
mandatory, you should go to that.
Informative.
Yeah, the most like socially binding.
It's breaking all those barriers, so then when it's time to LARP, like you're ready just to jump in.
And you get to start thinking about backstory a little bit better, and you can make connections and talk about things with your groups.
Yeah.
I think it was actually really helpful.
Which a lot of that happens in the Discord, which I was in probably more than anyone else here.
I was barely in the Discord,
Most of you
though.
were barely in that.
So.
I popped into like
looked
our
at it.
group one, but I didn't participate as much.
I gave my login to you, so you could do it for me.
Count sharing.
You don't have to share
That's a
that,
little-
but thanks for that.
Cut that out.
Yeah, so it was sort of...
We're going to edit that one out.
There's definitely some connections that were made there that probably didn't follow through with, but I don't know. The Discord's cool too, but I think that workshop was the meat of the making connections.
Even the people that I didn't like follow up on the connection with, just seeing them there and like knowing, like it still felt cool because it wasn't like a bunch of strangers or like you don't have to do a bunch of character
I know that
introductions.
fucking guy.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I established I don't like them, and it might not come up at all, but it's like I clocked them.
That was a lot of your relationships, right?
I clocked them.
Yeah,
Also,
just in life.
Oh, okay.
God, people wear wigs.
They don't.
Yeah, so there's that. There's the meet and greet after, which was pretty cool.
Good food.
Good food.
Oh,
Really
crab
good
cakes.
food.
602 Brewery down in Bastrop, Texas.
Country fried
So
chicken.
good.
Chicken fried chicken.
Pretty decent food.
Cold
But yeah,
beer
meat
Friday
good
night.
was
beer.
awesome.
That was a cool sort of hangout. Also, you got to like mingle with people a little bit.
Yep.
Mhm.
Meet some of the big wigs.
Just chatted
It was
with
okay.
the people.
And then we slept,
Like a rock.
which we needed to. And then Saturday was registration, which took 3 seconds, maybe.
Yep.
Mhm. Very
Literally
easy.
signing a waiver, so that was easy. And then the rules workshop, which is a necessary evil.
Very long.
I really don't have. I'm a very impatient person, so anyone who asks a question that I don't think is vital, I get a little angrier and angrier and angrier.
And how
So,
were you at the end?
I was struggling, but there was also, it was very necessary and very informative.
Yeah, there's a lot of first time LARPers at this one.
That-
I
Yeah.
I
feel like
say,
most of the people I talked to were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is my first time."
Yeah.
yeah, learning the gestures and everything. I mean, you kind of,
So, yeah.
like you said, necessary evil. You kind of need it.
And also, this style of LARP, as someone who's never LARPed, I think is super easy to pick up. So
Yeah.
this was, what do they call it, bespoke stuff?
Bespoke, yeah.
I don't know. Everything's like a negotiation. You don't have to worry about like your power levels, your abilities.
Yeah,
anything.
like
Like,
that can get clunky.
you can know nothing about the system, and you just have to know to ask people before you touch them and do stuff. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's a little more nuanced than that, but
Yeah,
the gist of it is you just can negotiate, and everything is like up to you telling the story.
everything's like pretty much pre-scripted, like improvisationally. So you like kind of walk up and try to script a scene and play it out, and there's not a lot of expression of powers or other things like that, or
You
any kind of
really,
actual
really
physical.
Whatever.
Yeah,
It's so smooth to go from like the negotiation back into the scene you're in. I thought they did
Yeah.
a pretty good job of like, you don't feel like you're out of it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very easy to understand. You shouldn't need to get that many questions about it.
Oh,
What if I? And I thought the glow stick system was really
Cool,
nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
So it's really easy to see who's immortal, who's a blood bag, and if they don't have anything, you know they're a vampire. So you could sort of go into with that knowledge a little bit, especially once you're turned. You could like hunt people easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so how it worked was if you either started as a vampire, you had a red glow stick.
No.
Or sorry.
Yeah.
You didn't have a
No,
glow
you
stick.
did have a glow stick.
Sorry. And then
Mortals have red.
This
you
is-
started as a
You
mortal,
guys
you started
have red.
you had a red glow stick, but that
Blood
means
bag
you were going to
had-
be turned.
It's some-
And blood bags
Had purple.
Purple.
had purple, and that
Everything
means they
could
never
just
got
die
turned.
again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
That's rough.
that was cool. There's that, and then the wristbands, which was a very good idea, but it's you really can't see them. Very well.
Very
Yeah, it's
hard
very
to see.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that like you do this to like negotiate and
Yeah.
talk to someone, and when you do that, it should show. But
But still, usually I'm looking at someone in the eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in conversation.
I-
Like, I know they're doing this. Like,
I
what-
found myself really I forgot wristbands were a thing.
I know.
Mine
I felt
got
bad.
stuck
Yeah.
up my arm for a while, like under my coat, and I realized like partway through, like nobody could have seen it, and mine was green, so it wasn't a big
Yeah.
deal for me. But just like,
I almost never noticed them.
Yeah, so I might have accidentally like negotiated with someone who had a yellow, but I hope not.
Yeah, sorry we did that.
But I also didn't run into any like problems with that. So
no one. Yeah.
I probably people I also agree. And I'm assuming people who had like the red and stuff hopefully would have made it more pronounced or made sure. I don't know. It was a good system. I don't know how to really improve it
If you
unless
do
like you make
glow
that
stick,
glow too.
If you did glow stick bracelets, they have different colors like that, like green, yellow, and red.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
could have done that. That might be the only thing.
Yeah, just visibility stuff. But otherwise, simple system.
Mhm.
I thought it was a really good idea for a LARP environment,
Yeah.
especially for new LARPers. I can't imagine going to one and having to know like, okay, my powers do this, my scores are this. This is how this works, and it wasn't competitive. The idea,
No.
it's true storytelling, not like there's no way to win this LARP. So,
And they tell you to take L's. Like, you're going to have a good story if you don't
Yeah.
win every time you talk to
so it
somebody.
was really friendly.
And I
for-
took a lot of L's that night.
He's the
Oof.
king over there.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else about the workshop?
No.
It ran a little long, I think maybe.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
very
Yeah,
well.
it ran long.
Didn't
Longer
give us
than-
a lot of time to get to the LARP by the time they
Yeah.
wanted us to.
Because we had a dinner
We
break, so we had a
were
scarf.
late.
We had
No, wait to the left.
everyone was kind of late.
Oh, we
Oh,
were later.
it's the final.
Where are we?
The final.
There goes
From-
Medusa.
The other people. Oh
my
no!
last batch.
Cut it.
No, it's alright. That's my punishment for being late. But yeah, then you have a little dinner break. You get in costume. You go to the actual LARP site, which is like 20 minutes long.
LARP site was fucking awesome.
It was cool.
Yeah, we talked about the side a little bit. It was essentially, I guess it's a concert venue. It's like an outdoor concert venue
old ranch.
called Cauldron's Keep.
Oh.
And so it already has like a dance floor and like
A stage.
bars and like it's all just sort of a loose wooden structure. Yeah, it worked really well for like the rave feel.
Rural rave.
To where you weren't like on top of each other, but it wasn't so spread out that like you couldn't find someone or like would be.
Yeah.
This is a very like close area. Like you could very quickly move to every section of it.
There were clear defined like
Yeah.
spots, so you could get away from the spot you were
Like
in and
rooms.
go to a completely different.
Yeah, it was pretty open to where like it flowed together well. I thought it was set up very well.
And there's a live chicken in there.
I was gonna get to that during the.
I still feel like that
recap.
was left in there by mistake.
Oh,
I think it was there.
I think it
unintentionally.
ran away and.
Because it's a
there.
ranch. So
It's
I
a
don't,
ranch.
I don't know if
It's not really
Here's
a ranch,
our
though. It's like
cowboy.
it's a concert venue though. It's not like they sold the ranch as an event space.
It
and
might
they were
be
like,
used
"Oh,
as a
it's
ranch too,
chicken."
though. 'cause that was like
it's
a
an old
chicken coop.
ranch. Yeah.
But there was
that's what I
only
told.
one.
Yeah, they probably got the rest out and forgot one.
Oh, that makes sense. He
Yeah.
hid.
Yeah.
It was a rooster, mine.
They're known for hiding?
Yeah.
I mean,
In Texas,
Hey,
yeah.
it also wasn't a rooster.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure that was a hen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
No.
hen.
Somebody was pointing out, not to name drop, but Jason Carl said it was a rooster.
Well, Jason Carl, you will be
I
called
also
out.
agree.
Yikes.
I think it was him. I don't want to misattribute that.
I have no
Either way,
idea.
she's calling you stupid, Jason.
So,
No, I'm not. I'm agreeing with you.
there's that.
All right, start the Twitter
And
beef.
then the,
Cut that out.
So the actual LARP was broken up into 4 acts, which I'll explain for the audience and for you guys.
Thank
which
you.
You guys
Yep.
don't quite
Very
understand.
confused, yeah.
I got it.
I knew where
Uh,
Act 3 was, but...
Okay. Act 1 was sort of just the actual rave. Everyone's there, partying, getting
Party,
to know
party.
each other, doing your mortal stuff. A lot of the predetermined sort of stories and connections you have, I feel like took off right from the beginning. Don't hit the mic, ever.
I didn't hit him.
Act 2 was when like the vampires were allowed to start like feeding and start embracing. Each vampire was only allowed to embrace one person during Act 2. So apparently last year they just had everyone got turned, so there was no one left at the end.
Oh, it sucks.
It was
So,
like one person.
That was a good rule. And so yeah, Act 2 is when you start noticing, sort of like the horror movie setup, like you notice something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like everything's cool and fun at the beginning.
People are thinning out a little
Yeah,
bit.
something's off. Act 3 they play Ballroom Blitz, and it's just a massacre
fucking
on the dance
awesome.
floor. And Act 3 is when everyone who hasn't been turned gets turned.
Yeah.
Act 4, everyone who should be a vampire is a vampire. They do like their indoctrination, the rituals, their big speech for the Sabbat stuff. And Act 4 ends with them burning the place down.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go through the 4 acts, but we'll give some background on who we were playing. Start with you guys over here.
The Step Siblings. I was Sean Davenport.
I was Logan Abernathy.
We played Step Siblings. We were party posers, so we were literally just there for the party. We did a bunch of candy, drugs.
They were delicious. We brought a lot of fake money.
Yeah, they pulled props. They had like a ton of fake cash that you could take depending on how much you thought your character. So there's a lot of that.
Oh, we had cash.
A lot of people brought candy as fake drugs. They also had these cool pill things. So there's a lot of cool, like, I don't know, immersion props in there. And they also gave everyone a vial of blood.
That was very cool.
It tastes like cranberries. It's good.
But yeah, for the first act, we just danced.
No, we're not talking about our acts. You're talking about your characters.
So
That's
We
all you
were
have to say about
dancers.
your
Logan-
characters.
Yep.
Logan Abernathy, the role in the party poser group was Eye for Fashion. So she was kind of the fashionista going out to have a good time, and then also essentially to find inspiration to like steal looks from people who are actually authentic, and then co-opt them for herself and the rest of the crew. And then
How much of a stretch?
career what?
What?
Who was that?
What else?
Oh, you don't want to stretch? I was a disappointment in the group. I was Sean Davenport's disappointment. I just hung out with my sister and her dumb friends to get high and do raves, and then leave them at the dance floor and to find more drugs from other people. One guy kind of scammed me, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, I was just a little rich party poser kid who used his sister and friends.
I was Henry Hopkins, a.k.a. Lullaby. Just a sweet cowboy, undercover cop, and a Cobra through and through. We were in a biker gang called the Cobras, which we had sweet jackets. All my patches have fallen off because I'm not a craftsman. But yeah, we were there essentially to like start shit and make some deals and try to get cuts of everything going on. I chose to play sort of a quiet, like, secondhand man enforcer type. So just sort of there to be imposing and do what the boss told me to do.
I was playing Jorge. He's just a pretty standard Mexican gangster who happened to join the biker gang. He cracked a lot of wise and bullied a lot of people and started some stuff. And yeah, it was good. Mostly Jorge.
The comic relief, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You leaned into it hard. And
you could be on the dance floor and hear Jorge. You're like, he's doing some kind of deals over there.
Which normally would be terrible, but for some reason in that setting was just that much funnier.
Yep.
With like the horror going on.
A dark wedding and
Feel like
wedding,
we needed something to cut the tension a little bit.
That was good.
That was good.
Right, I played Quinn. She was involved with the Fixers. Yeah. I don't know.
Said that I knew that when
you.
you.
I worked with my boss, who was part of the 6th Street, like the mob, and I was pretty controlling individual in that group, manipulative, blended well with the crowd. Our job was to kind of enforce the power of 6th Street in the rave scene, in the club scene. So make sure our dealers weren't cheating us, make sure like the clubs were paying their dues and hiring the people we wanted and that kind of thing. So we were there to figure out who was running this party because they didn't go through the right channels. So did that, made a lot of drug deals.
You guys kept giving us money. It was great.
Yeah. We were bankrolling.
Kept telling us to buy something nice.
Sure.
So there was a lot of, I don't know how many groups there were. There were a lot of different
groups.
Most groups we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us in our gang.
There's only 4 of us in our.
I feel like it's probably like 4 to, we probably had
me,
close
Shane,
to the
Raquel,
most. Probably 4 to 7.
Melissa, Tessa, Kim.
We had 7.
Yeah, 7.
So
some of the groups were really big, and everyone dressed, like, had some kind of defining dress. So you could kind of pick out the groups, which was neat, like, to see the different people.
yeah, it was,
a
and
ton, though.
people moved in their little groups, so it was cool. And there's everything from, like, different party groups to different drug dealers to different criminal elements.
Oh, but I will.
There's a group of rich people whose, like, limo broke down and they're stuck at the rave.
Yeah.
There's, like, people from the music scene. So there's a lot of cool, like, a lot of 90s stereotypes or rave stereotypes represented. But all
there was Waldo.
Yeah,
Waldo was there.
Hang on.
Yeah.
If you came to the night in question as Waldo,
Yes.
or you know the person who came as Waldo,
Please reach out.
Please.
Hit.
We miss
I was
you.
gonna say hit me up, but
We
you said
miss
reach
you.
out.
So yeah,
That
those are our
going.
characters. So Act 1. What did you guys do during Act 1?
We
Danced.
took fake shots.
We took a lot of fake shots.
Found the chicken.
Found the chicken. I met not a bridal party, bachelorette party. That was fun. Made some connections there.
Oh,
Was that Act 2?
there was a dude there dressed like it. Everything took place in the year 1998.
Yeah.
And someone came, is like a perfect stereotypical nerd with like the glasses, everything. Came over and tried to dance with us. And we went full mean girl on this person. And if it were real, probably ruined his night.
If that was you, reach out to me. Punish them.
So we just like got started off just being horrible.
Yeah.
Which was really fun.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun to be just a goth mean girl.
Yeah.
Rave mean girl, yeah.
We were connected most of the night.
Yep.
But until the very beginning and very end, not as much.
Oh,
so I don't know what you did
yeah.
Act 1.
Wait, was that Act 2?
We also, there was like a fake movie shoot down there and we all,
Got in on it.
like squealed our way into a movie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We were like, we want to be in it.
I was like, hey guys, Drake Belmont's here. They're like, what? He's filming a movie. And then the entire party posers went to find Drake Belmont.
Took over the set.
And then
Karina knew him, and she hated him. And
yeah,
then at the end of the night, she didn't hate him, and that was part of the weird madness of character transitions. Your relationships with people changed, which was really interesting.
I was security, so my act 1 was I was security for the movie for Drake specifically. Actually.
Okay.
Because there's Trey, our more lover of mayhem guy in the gang, got the security job, and my dude's the dude who keeps things in line. So I'm like, we can't let our most reckless guy guard this actor. So I'm also gonna guard him.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to have my fun. I showed up and sort of bullied the director a little bit. I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and it looks like something bad could happen at any moment. You're definitely gonna need more than one security guard, but I know he only paid for one. So she just looked down and gave me some money. But moments later, 2 I don't know what group they were in. They looked I think they were from the sorority. They were also sort of mean, whatever girls came up. They had a problem with someone on the set, and they were just barging their way in. So I got in their way. That was my first negotiation, because my dude's not good at arguing back and forth. He's just there as a presence. Mm-hmm. So they were just berating me, and I was just taking it, and I was like, man, you're gonna have to move along. And then I'm like, all right, negotiation violence. I just pulled a knife on them. So they went from in my face to okay, well, and they're still pissed, but they gave me a good setup. Do you even have a permit to film? He's like, I got a permit for this, man.
That is so good.
So I had fun with that, and then they left, and then Drake. So I pulled a knife, and some of the people were like, what the fuck? That dude pulled a knife out, and the actor came and slipped me an extra 20. He's
That's
I'm
awesome.
so happy I hired you.
Now, was it the camera they were using? Was that actually filming stuff? It was?
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll release that.
I want to see the
I'm
video.
sure
Screaming. Yeah, we did Scream Queens. That's what we did.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And because they had the axe murder thing. A lot of people thought it was real at first, because it looked like there's an attack going on, and then no, it's a film.
Which was a good...
That was fun to play up. Because you're like, that was weird. Oh no, they're just filming. But it's just the horror stuff happening all through the night that was a cool thing. You're like, no, it's just the movie thing. You're like, but Drake's not there.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
I
also was an undercover cop, so I had a thing set up earlier to get Drake arrested. So I met with my undercover cop. Was like, hey, I'm guarding him, but I've seen him take drugs. I've seen him do some deals. I'm like, that dude was a really low-level undercover cop looking for a big score. So I'm like, when the time's right, I'm going to set him up to get arrested, and you can have it, because I couldn't blow my cover.
Yeah.
And I think it worked out at the end. I don't know. All I know is he wound up arrested. But I don't have that much to do with it.
Yeah.
And then some poser party elite people mouthed off to me.
Yeah, you're trying to stop us from leaving the dance floor because
I was gonna shake you down, and
Veronica
Raquel yelled at me.
Oh yeah.
And flew right by, and again, I'm like, well, I should have pulled a knife on him just for that. So I'm gonna get my gang working good on
Yeah. Oh yeah, for reference, here's the gang patch.
Yeah, it was cool. We looked the best.
Yeah. Most of my night was just interacting. In the first act was interacting and meeting people. I only did one real decent activity that sticks out, but we met Aruman and Mad Dog, the guys who changed us in the first act.
Oh yeah.
They were cool. Mad Dog was an 80s looking rocker type. He had a good outfit. He was cool, and he had a real thick accent. I don't know what kind of accent he had, but
I think that was his actual accent.
Yeah, I was, but he has it looked really cool. It looked like he looked like a European rock hairband rock star. It was pretty cool. And then Aruman, big guy, and I was kind of just wisecracking at people left and right, and a lot of the vampires I'd wisecrack at just to get starting interactions. And that's mostly what I did the first act. And then besides that, I also sold some drugs to our boy over here, Sean.
Yeah, he's 20 pop. I'm like, here's 100. Keep the change. Change.
So he gives me 100, and then we wait a while, and then me and Zach. Me and Zach were talking. I'm like, he's like, we should find somebody to shake down and do something. I'm like, all right, I got it. I know a guy. So we go find him again. I pull out a 20, and I'm like, hey man, you only gave me a 20. You're lucky I didn't catch you then.
Yeah,
And
and
then
I was like,
shook him
I
down for
never
more
carry
money.
20s.
That's when I walked up and I was like, I think I gave you $200. I was
Yeah,
like,
you're
leave
just like,
us alone.
She's
Shut
like,
up.
she just threw $200. Like, be quiet.
Yeah.
And I got $100 from him. It was
And-
a real easy way to score
Yeah.
$300. Basically.
But then
And
we
the
went to
90s
we
were
went to
easy.
Carmine, and Carmine's like, we're like, Quinn said if we're getting in trouble, you can help us. He's like, just pulled out a wad. He goes, how much did they take from you? Here's some extra.
Hang on, because that'll lead us to her. So
Yeah, so we started out the night, like meeting up with Karina, like you're like
she
boss
was like,
lady.
she's like my sister. I was like, oh.
Yeah, so we met up with Carmine, Jason Carl's character, and then Karina, Shane's character, and we met, we talked about some like business stuff, and then we had to go into our business meeting with your boss. And a
Oh, I
couple
missed
others
that. I was
related
supposed to
to
be
her.
there.
Yeah, related to her, and she was making us a deal about some new drugs and whatever. So that took a minute, and we found out later at the end of the night why that meeting happened, but we'll get to that. Yeah, so
Intrigue.
What's the tea, sis?
So
Spill it.
we met with them for a little while, then we left. There was 4 people in our group, and we left one of the guys to finish out that details and see if he believed her and whatever, and we moved on to go just find out who was running the show here, figured out. So mostly we were just questioning people. There were people like handing out like free drugs, but which was really
Smarties.
suspicious to us because we know how that shit works. And so we would ask them, and there's like this priest dude like crouching on tables all night, and eventually we got to talk to him and learn about that. I don't know, was it Shane was walking around with the Alex Ward's character quite a bit. Like even
Father
early
Isaac.
on, yeah. Even early on, which was weird, and like I was supposed to be keeping an eye on her because she had taken a lot of drugs, so so that was fun.
I got the instruction to keep an eye on Karina most of the night.
That's
That was like a lot
dude,
of my
it's a lot
interaction
of
with
babysitting.
Carmine.
So yeah, mostly Carmine and mine's character. We just went around asking people questions, paying people. I knew that you guys were with Karina, so when I saw Zach's group trying to shake you guys down, that's when I came over and let you know, like, Carmine's got you. Like, if you need anything, go to him. So it's kind of neat to see how, like, we'd already had a meeting with your boss,
Yeah.
and she's, like, friends with us, and then you guys were fucking around with them, who was also friends. It was just, like, interesting how all the scummy, like,
Bleeds together.
overlords are...
Yeah, that was a big theme about the gang. The leader of the gang wanted to keep everything on the level and cool. We had quite a few wild cards and people looking for some rambunctiousness.
Spark plug if you're out
Yeah.
there.
Sparkplug, easily MVP of the gang,
Yeah.
being a madman.
There was a also I had my first power used on me. Act 1 I forgot about.
Yep.
Because the
Ahriman,
yeah, we saw because we were talking shit. Especially I like talking shit to vampires because we knew it would bite us in the ass later.
Yeah.
But like at the time, our characters wouldn't know.
Well, they were also like pretty
They were
much every
dressed
person,
weird.
And
everybody
they
who
were
started as
dressed
a
weird.
vampire came in super extra.
Aggressive.
They came in very done up and like
Yeah.
very
yeah,
obvious.
he had like that like Sabbat tattoo and like the
Yeah,
shawl. So we were
The
like, hey
shawl.
man, what do we wear to
I was like,
that?
"Ole, nice blanket, home."
Yeah.
That's what I said to him, and he was like, "It's not a blanket."
Yeah, so we gave him shit, and then I did the thing with the knife with the girls. I kept the film going, and he came up to me, and he's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh, it's you again with the blanket," and he's like, "You really, really like me." And in this game, how vampire mental powers works, they'll say "really, really," and then whatever they say is like your hint that they're using a power, and you could roll with it or not, but it's way more fun to roll with it.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, man, I'm sorry, sir. I was so rude earlier with what I was saying. And he's like, you know what? It's all right, but there is something you can do to make it up for me. And he pulled out a ton of money. He's like, this will be yours and my forgiveness if you just make sure that someone beats the shit out of that director. And I was like, yes, sir, I'm on it. So it was cool that like he just he saw what I did, and it was his way to fuck with me without being like overtly like it was just a little personal jab. So that was cool. But yeah. So Act 2 then.
Rachel, did you have any?
Oh, I was just gonna say I had a power used on me with what was his name? Full white suit. I don't remember his character name.
Mr.
Sam.
Valentine or something?
Mr. Valentine. Yeah. Mr. Valentine came over to our whole. Were you over there then? I don't
No,
know.
no, no.
He came over and he used it on like all of the party poser girls, like to like he like kept reading our minds engaged.
Oh.
When he came over, he's like, "You really, really want to tell me your feelings?" Yeah, and he was like,
Yeah, because that was the first time you're like, like you really want to tell me what you're thinking? Like, I'm confused.
That was like
because that was going to the bar, right? Or we're coming out of the bar? Yeah.
And he told me I needed to be on more drugs. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
he was
I
like-
just took some, dude. I'm good.
And he's like, I'll be back in 20 minutes. And we're like,
I thought the bar was cool too. I mean, obviously you can't drink there. They give you like shots of water. You go and there's a bartender.
I was-
Surge.
I was more hydrated than I've ever been
Oh,
in my
I was
life.
so hydrated. Thank you, Jackalope.
So yeah, Act 2
My
was
liver
when
thanks you.
things started getting weird. Which you guys got turned later, so I don't know. Did you have like Act 2 experiences?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Really?
That was Act 3.
I had,
For you.
Karina got
Oh,
turned early in Act 2. Or I feel like it was early in Act 2. So I don't know if you had an experience where you came over and told us you saw a girl get hurt.
Yeah,
So
I was
if
at
you wanna talk about
at the
that.
fire pit and I saw Matt with like this like girl just bleeding on the neck, and like other people saw it too. Like we're freaking out. Like we're following them to like the bathrooms and stuff, and like they disappeared and stuff, and like it's just like the horror movie. They're just horror movie makeup. I think like one of the guys said that. Like okay, great, and then but yeah, you start seeing all that stuff thinning out, and then that's when I was talking to one of the bachelorette parties, Cervantes. Me and him were talking. That's when I sent him to you to get drugs and stuff. And we were talking, and Alexander Ward's character came up and just like was like by us. And we're like, "Oh, you part of the movie too? You fucking freak, whatever." And he just leans and goes, "You really, really want to forget you saw me?" I'm like, "Fuck, fuck, that's creepy." And
Right off the bat.
so we both were like, anyways. But yeah, that was pretty much Act 2. I didn't do.
So one thing we might want to talk about before, it's not weird stuff that happened in Act 2, but we did get into a confrontation near the porta potty before stuff got weird for us in Act 2.
Yes.
Where
Pretty sure he was on Malkavian or something.
I don't think it was a
he wasn't
kindred
turned.
yet.
Yeah, he wasn't turned.
We were waiting in line to go to the bathroom. No, it was just like we were waiting to go to the bathroom and we were being mean all night. So this guy came out of the bathroom and saw us in line, and I think Veronica had said something to him earlier.
Raquel.
And he was like,
Why are you being
"Why are you so mean?" And we were like, "We're not being mean. We're just better than you." And in his face and saying stuff like, "If we're so mean, why do you even want to have this conversation?
Yeah.
Just go away." Just like
And he'd go and then he'd come back.
And so then it escalated where Veronica was like stomping on his foot and slapping him.
Yeah,
and
they
then
negotiated violence.
we negotiated violence a couple times. Another
Yeah,
person came up.
to like put herself in the middle.
She like threw herself in front, a hero.
And then I go negotiate violence, and then I fought the guy.
And then
And he did not want to lose because I'm like, come on, man.
he wanted to. I think he was going to throw you against the wall, and you were like, "All right, that's fine."
Yeah, I was ready to do it, but then something. Oh, that one guy.
Two other guys came up and like pulled him off.
Yeah.
But that was a fun where it was like, all right, things are escalating in a
It's
different
like-
way, not a non-vampire
Stop
way.
cornering us. Like we're literally in a corner.
He said, "I'm not cornering you," and we looked around and we're like, "We're in a corner." But that was a really fun interaction.
The last thing for Act 2 for me was, so in the workshop, the first on Friday, that's when you meet people like this person, you need to figure out why you don't like this person, and this person why you like this person. I never got to meet up with the one that we made good relationships with, but the one dude, we're both like from like money, but like no, he doesn't have money. I grew up with money. So I would like, our backstory was like, I started going to his like dive bars, and he's like, he doesn't want like a fucking kid like me in his bar. So like we had like a whole thing like last week, like we like fought each other in a dive bar and stuff, and like kicked me out and stuff. And so then I saw him at the fire. And I'm like, "Hey, you got invited to this party too?" And he's like, "You motherfucker." And so, and I didn't see, because there was so much going on. I didn't know that he didn't have his, he was turned. And so, and we had a pretty good fight like the week before. So he's like, negotiate violence. I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, I'm going to punch you. I'll go for the fake punch. I'm going to punch you in the stomach. He goes, yeah, just a heads up. This is my power now. I'm like, all right. And so, do the fake punch stomach, and he doesn't move. And then he pushes me, and like, I let him use his hands and push me like 10 feet back on the ground. And that was fun to like see that through fruition wise, but it was cool.
So, my Vampire Act 2 experience was, character Karina was like my mentor the whole night, and we had a good thing going, and she came up, and you could see she has straw all in her hair, and she's not wearing her glow stick. So, in character, you don't know what that means. So she comes up and we're like, "Are you on bad drugs? What's happening?" She's there with her
asked that
friend.
a lot that night.
"Are you on bad drugs?"
Nah,
Need some
man.
water.
And so she dances with her friend Carmine, and he's like, "Hey, can you take care of her? Because she just seems super weird." So we walk a ways off, go to the stage, and she's like, "Can you get the straw out of my hair?" So I do. Negotiate feed happens because I was isolated with a vampire. She does, and then she's like, "You need to get away from me." So I kind of stumble off in my like 4.5-inch heels, and money falls. I was carrying a lot of money, and money falls on the ground. So I go to get it, and I look up, and Jorge is standing there. And she used fake blood, so I have blood all over my arm, and I'm picking up money off the ground. The guy who robbed my brother earlier is sitting above me, and I'm like, take the money, and go. He's like, "No, I want to help you, get up." Grabs my hand. I have not noticed that he doesn't have a glow stick until I look up, see his hands like this, negotiate feed, and that's when I realize he doesn't have a glow stick. So that's the story of how, like, within 30 seconds, and then I tattled on you. Corinna had me, that was when I had a vampire power. She's like, "You really, really want to forget."
Yeah.
Carmine gave me more money. I had so much fake money by the end of the night. My, like,
Still
bag
do.
No, I have more than that in my house.
God.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I saw you were like all acting all wacky and stuff, and you're like, "Yeah, I think he just bit me or something." That's when I tried to fight you.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were.
Yeah, he'll tell that.
Yeah.
Were you
But-
turned in Act 2?
At the end.
Towards the end, before all the crazy stuff happened.
So, I showed up to your group. You weren't there. I won't tell your part of this story. I'll let you tell it. But I did, like, go up to the Fixers group, and we were talking about how Carmine was like, "It's just been a weird night. It's been a really weird night." I was like, "I know. I thought the weirdest thing would be the chicken. Nobody believed me that there was a chicken. Went and showed everybody the chicken. Got fed on again.
Buy the chicken?
No, I wish. But Corinna kept doing a thing where she... Thank you. Corinna kept doing a thing where she would feed on me, have me forget it, and then tell me, like, "You really, really just want to go dance. You really
How
just..."
hungry was she?
Man, you gotta eat.
Because she feeds on me later.
Oh, somebody came up with blood all over their face, and she, like, negotiated to, like, pretend to, like, try to lick it. And we all stopped and we were like, "Whoa!" But then that's when I ended up on dancing again for a long time, because she's like, "You really, really just want to go out and dance." So I was dancing with Veronica for a while, too, because a similar thing had happened to her where she was just, like, vampire wiped to just want to go dance. What happened to you?
Ours is the whole shovelhead experience. We can do ours last unless you are also turned.
So I guess like at the beginning of that second act, a lot of our groups started getting fights. Like our two like musclemen were in fights a couple times, so they were real bloody and weird. And then Corinna, I was following her around a lot for Carmine. I think that's when we had our talk with the priest, maybe, and he was telling us like 90% of the people here tonight will be dead and we'll be the ones in power. So if you want to get on board, like, we want you. Like, there are wolves or sheep and you're a wolf. Like, he and I had like a private conversation about it because that's like my thing. Like, I want to be the best. Like, I want to move my way up the ladder and I want to be in power. So that was kind of my thing. So Carmine had me talk to him for a little bit, and because he like trusted my judgment. So if we were going to make moves, like, I was going to call the shots on that. And then Rena was turned, so she kept like taking my wrists in her hand and like looking at them, and she did that to me weird all night. And I was like, "You're real fucked up, aren't you?" And I go grab some water. But eventually she feeds on me, and then she like immediately asks if her sire can feed on me, so she takes me over to her sire. So I meet her sire, like, which I'd already technically met, but he made me forget. So
Father Isaac.
yes. So then they fed, and so and I had like very different experience. Like mine, like it was really euphoric. Like it. So like I wasn't upset about it. But eventually she was like, "You can't tell Carmine. Like you really don't want to tell Carmine," and like stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting. That was fun. To play with like all those relationships, like the really close ones, you know. a lot of people were yelling about being bitten on the neck, like, so this girl went crazy, and like, so we started like really freaking out about the drugs that were being sold because that affects our business and like how that's going to affect the overall thing. And so yeah, that's a lot of my.
And
then I got turned
and then
at the end of the second act.
somebody showed you a chicken
And then somebody showed me
God
chicken.
damn it.
and was cornered.
She's
yeah,
lucky. I didn't get to see the chicken until the third act.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I like had like blood on my wrists and stuff. I looked like I had done drugs even though I hadn't done any that night.
You start
my
bleeding when you
character-
do drugs?
Like no, I was acting like I was
Disheveled.
like super euphoric. And then the man in the white suit came up and was like,
Valentine.
yeah, and he fed on me, and then he was like, I'm gonna turn you.
I'm gonna turn you.
You gonna get embraced.
And he like made me take drugs on the way, and that was really weird. And then we went to like the gravesite, and I think it was cooler to end up being turned earlier because they do this whole like ceremony and like they chant crazy cane shit over your body while you're in the thing.
Super culty.
Yeah,
like-
it was real creepy because you're like in this hay underneath these sheets and you can't see out and it's dark and cold.
Yeah.
And
So there's like the actual like rave area, and then it's a kind of a short walk, but enough to like really feel like this whole different scene.
Yeah.
They have a graveyard.
cool.
We sort of walk through this
It's a little maze.
little maze, and then they have a bunch of holes in the ground with hay. To if you're not familiar with the whole Sabbat vampire world of darkness thing, is what they do is they're called shovelheads. Where they hit people with shovel,
Hit me
kill
over
them,
the head.
throw them in a grave, give them a little bit of their blood, and they have to bury them alive.
Mhm.
And then they crawl out, and if they crawl out and make it, they're Sabbat. So they like
Fucking
recreated that, and they had, like speakers in there
Mhm.
that were like
Saying stuff.
Voices.
and crazy shit, and there the vampires are like all out, where they have like the prosthetics on and the
That's
costumes,
awesome.
and they're giving like these
Yeah.
praise Cain, Dark Father sermons. It was cool. It
Yeah.
was intense.
Yeah.
But Jorge, how was your? And unless there's anything else that happened in your act.
Well, I came back and Karina realized I'd been turned, and I had to lie to Carmine about it and like be like, "No, I'm fine. I just feel really great now. Like I'm having a much better time than I was earlier." And then we met Karina over by the fire like a couple minutes later, and Logan was there, and
Somebody.
Karina was like, "Go show her the chicken. She'll let you feed on her if you ask."
Hey, fun fact. Let? Also, you asked out of character. In character, you did not ask.
Because they hadn't had any normal interactions for a long time. And
Forgot.
it's honestly, it's not really my thing to like be.
It's a lot of
super
social
extroverted,
stuff, yeah.
like extroverted in character, and
I get 100% in. I went 110%.
I know
He made up for it.
He
made
did.
up for it. I agree, but so anyway, I was a weirdo most of the time, and I apologize. But yeah, so like out of character, I was like, "How are you doing? Is everything okay? I'm gonna feed on you in a second." But
And I was like,
still
I
fun.
know I saw you guys whispering. In character, I've forgotten every time I've been fed on, but right now, I know.
And I can't make her forget, so then she
She just tried to convince me it was a good thing.
Because I had a good time when I was fed on. Like, it was euphoric for me, and you were just being a spaz. And I was like, but it's fun.
I was like, at that point in the night, I had blood all over me, and I couldn't remember why. So I was really like trying to play into like something's really wrong.
That's hilarious.
The only one I remembered was you.
We were turned.
Yeah,
So our Act
okay.
3. Did anything happen before the Embrace for you?
Act 2?
Act 2?
Not really. Well,
That didn't start
Armand,
until-
like, he did the mind thing on me like he did to you. He says, "You're my friend now."
Mm.
So that's why I kind of followed him, and then he asked where you were at, and so I kind of led Mad Dog and him to you.
Yeah.
And then
That's why I
they
knocked
took
over.
both of us out and kind of like
Yeah.
forcefully like attacked us and drug us
Yeah,
to
Mad
the
Dog,
graveyard.
which, like I said, he was dressed all 80s and stuff, so of course, like, all night, I was just, anyone who looked weird, or, what are you doing?
Talking.
I asked him to pick something up for me. Apparently, he knocked it over.
Sorry, I thought we were professionals. Anyway,
I did too.
We're not.
all right, fair.
Yeah, so Mad Dog was another vampire, who I fucked with earlier, so then he came back, and I'm like, oh, here it comes.
Yep.
And he pulled me aside,
Yep.
and yeah, I'm like, hey, come with me, because I don't have a good feeling about this. and then your guy was there too. So
Yep.
as soon as we got outside, he like we negotiated violence, and he just grabbed me and pretty much just like manhandled me easily. So I was like freaking out because I'm a bigger dude than him. I'm like, I should be able to kick your ass, but he was just easily tossing me around. And then I don't know how yours.
No, he just told me to follow you until because he was my friend. Like, he's like, you guys are gonna hurt him, right? And he's like, no, he's fine. Just follow us. I was like, all right.
So your friend, no,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna use violence.
He didn't have to use violence. I think he did hit me before he started dragging me, but he didn't need to. So yeah, then we get dragged there, and then me and him both get turned pretty much at the same time.
Yeah, you're
And we
right
get
behind
out.
me.
Yeah,
I kind of almost ruined my moment and felt bad because I knew going in our whole gang was gonna get like turned by the same dude. I thought. I didn't know we were getting turned Act 2. I thought we were all getting turned later by the same, like, because we all wanted to be in the same, like, war pact or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know Mad Dog was any part of that. Well, he wasn't. Our boss, like, worked with some other vampires to turn us early.
So essentially what happened was Rocky, who was our gang leader, she had a connection with a vampire
She was
already.
A ghoul. She was a ghoul,
She's already
so
a ghoul.
she knew what was happening.
Right, and so she had planned to turn the whole gang to, like, improve the gang, basically. Yeah. So actually, like, she's the one who set up those vampires to come drag us off.
Yeah.
And so when we came up and we rose as vampires, she was there and she kind of explained what was going on to us.
Which could have been a cooler moment for me, because as I'm getting drugged, I wouldn't negotiate, because I didn't want to ruin the whole gang thing. And it was pretty early in Act 2, so I'm like, it
was like right at the start.
Yeah, I negotiated. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna like negotiate violence and like escape because I think this might fuck up our whole gang's plans. And he's out of character. He's like, your leader asked me to do this, and I was like, what? And then I turn around and she's there. I'm like, man, if I just would have like stayed in character for 2 more seconds, I would have like seen that she was there and been like, what the fuck? But
yeah,
it was so cool. But yeah,
like betrayal.
And then he's like, hey man, it's gonna be all right. He's just like, look at the party. As soon as I turn around, he just shoveled me.
Yeah, and then we came back up, and when we came back up, we were explained that. So me and him, being 2 new immortals, immediately thought of, we should stab each other.
Yeah, I had him stab me, because I was just fixated on I can't die, the immortality. Yeah. I didn't care about any religion or stuff. I'm an enforcer dude. I'm like, well, I can't dead. I pulled out my knife, I handed it to Jorge, I'm like, stab me. I remember, like, Rocky was trying to, like, explain like the details of the vampire stuff, and I'm just like,
we found a way more succinct way of explaining.
And then he stabbed me, and I'm like, holy shit! And then you gave me a knife, and then at that point she just hands us another knife, and so we're stabbing each other. And this priest is like, the All Father blood. And then he looks and she's just like, they're having a moment. So we're just enthusiastically ganking each other by a grave,
which became a very important part of the ritual, which we've added into vampire lore.
Yeah, it's
we talked to Jason Carl about it and everything.
So all but one poor Daryl did. We couldn't find a vampire for him, but the rest of the Cobras,
pretty much immediately afterwards, Sparky got turned, and we were able to stab Sparky into the gang
and Jet. It's Sparky, and then
it was Sparky first, and then the next round we
went and fed
Ramona and Trey.
Yeah, Ramona and Trey.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much after that, we went to go after we got turned and we turned Sparky, we went to go feed. And that's when I stumbled. It was literally right as I walked in. I just kind of turned. We're supposed to go feed on, so I turn around. I just see her away in a corner, literally blood right down. That seems obvious. Yeah. So I just walked over there.
I was trying to play super not into that thing, because my dude's also a cop, so I'm not really into the hurt I don't know. I had a weird I was very violent against other criminals. I liked that, but I didn't want to hurt innocents. So I saw him go after a girl. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep walking. And I looked back over, and you were on the ground. I'm like, in my mind, you just did a running tackle.
No, because I did drop to the ground, which you were I didn't expect.
I didn't expect it, and so it was a very awkward.
But I was already bent over because I was bent over picking up.
Yeah, I thought he tackled you, because I saw we split. I look over, I hear you talking, and I look over, and you're on the ground.
How much of an alpha move would that have been? Just to tackle my friend into the fence?
If you just point and just go and just
for the LARP
Goldberg spear into a fence.
Hey, I would have. If you negotiated violence to tackle me in the fence, I would have agreed.
Yeah, you would. You're a good sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, immediately after that, he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey," and we're already hassling this guy all night. And he's like, "Hey, you tried to do something to my sister?" And I'm like, "No, I just helped her up. It's not a big deal. Calm down." And he starts to fight me, and Sparky's there, and I have an axe. I had gotten an axe from Ahriman at that point.
When did you get an axe?
Ahriman gave me an axe
handed him
on
an
the way
axe.
out. He says, "Go ask some people some questions." I'm like, "All right, Ahriman."
I thought it was nice.
Is the Cobra's just a gang of puns and
Anyways,
He's a
so
fountain.
I have an axe, so I immediately just attack him, and Sparky grabs it and starts hitting him too.
Yeah.
And basically he tries to get up and retaliate, and I was just like, I'm kind of a vampire now, so you're probably going to lose this. And he's like, and so he takes another L for the team.
It was good.
In the
But
second
that-
act from us, and he had to walk away ashamed that he couldn't defend his sister's honor.
Speaking of sisters, I had negotiating having a sister in the Discord beforehand. I didn't get to talk to a lot until then. I didn't see her at all until I was turned and I had to go feed. And that's the first time I saw her. I'm like, but my character was like the very protective older brother. And at that point, I knew there was vampires were real and they were killing people at this party. And it's my first time seeing her. I'm like, you gotta go. And she was with a girl who didn't have the thing. I'm like, fuck, this vampire was already like leading her somewhere. And she just like looks at me and smiles. And I'm just like staring at her like, I know what you are, but I can't say anything. So I'm just like doing from glaring to him to trying to be, or her trying to be nice to my sister. And I'm doing like an asshole older brother. And she's like, what the fuck? You can't just come out of nowhere and like ruin my time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, we can't talk about this because reasons. And she's like, and now Elena gets gang stuff. So it was like, she was
good.
What was her name? Her name was Lily too, which also AKA Sparky was her thing. So yeah, she was awesome actually. So we had a really cool moment of like making sure that you can't be protective and then disappear constantly. And of course, I had to disappear at that moment because I had to like feed and stuff. So I'm like, so I just like pointed at the vampire that's with her. I'm like, anything happens to her, and she's like, "Oh, I'll take care of them." Son of a bitch. But also, I'm like, I didn't want to just follow them all night, so I left. I fed very just like unceremoniously because again, I don't think my person would have liked feeding. So
Somebody who was already being fed on, right?
Yeah, someone was already being fed on by some of our other people, and this dude walked up, and we were secluded, and I actually posted up for a lot of feedings where I would just stand in front of the feeding and be like, move along, nothing to see here. And this blood bag came up, he's like, hey, that guy's biting him, and I'm like, yeah, now I'm gotta bite you. And I think that was the only feeding.
Awesome.
That was the only feeding I did, though. I don't think I really fed much, but we did that. And then I saw my sister again, and then she was like you, where she's very like euphoric, and she's like, I feel great. I'm like, are you on drugs? Or I'm like, you son of a bitch, to the vampire. And then I knew Ballroom Blitz was getting ready to start, because they told us. So I'm like, you get no dancing. I'm like, you get out of here. I'm like,
No dancing.
It's like the dad dirty dancing.
So I made her come with us. I'm like, you're coming out. I'm like, she's like, what the fuck? Why? Blah, blah. I'm like, you just follow me. So I made her
Is this
leave.
what you're like as a real brother in real life?
I wish my sister listened to me half as much as...
Your big sister.
Yeah. But yeah, that's when I sort of pulled her out of the rave part. And that's when Act 3 happened.
Should I start?
Wait.
I was the only mortal at Act 3.
No. I was
You were
immortal.
both
You were
mortal.
immortal too?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, should I start? Because then we can go
Yeah.
in order of turn. Okay.
Part
So
1.
I had been instructed by Karina to dance. I really, really wanted to go out and dance. The Ballroom Blitz starts playing, which is the
Let's
cue.
skip up.
No, I got it right this time. The Ballroom Blitz starts playing. That is a cue for everybody to go fucking feral. So people are getting fed on. People are getting embraced. I am running off the dance floor. I was dancing with Veronica. I think she got attacked, or for whatever reason, she wasn't there. So I went, or Corinna was the first person I found. She was telling me, like, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. Father Isaac walks over, tall, imposing, with, like, a cloak scarf over his head, pulls me out, and once we got out into the area where we were almost to the gravesite, I, like, took off, and he, like, dragged me back in. He was like, anyway, you really, really want to get into that grave. I was like, I guess I do.
Can't argue that.
Hang on. So a note about that is the way it looked to me in that moment was that there was like the cloth thing that you were going to lay on. So I fell into it way harder than I
You're
needed
dumb.
to. Yeah.
Everyone else clearly saw what it was, right?
Yeah, everybody else figured out
They had
exactly
me
how it
on
works.
there and like hit me over the head and everything. I got the whole.
So I went in, and then they pulled the thing over, clawed my way out. And on my way out of the gravesite, I hear someone shouting, "Logan! Where's Logan?" And I see my good stepbrother Sean on his way in, freaking out. He's like, "We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here." I was like, "You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine."
Yeah.
And I drank a lot of his blood.
Yep.
And then I was like, "You're gonna be fine." And walked out. On our way out, Father Isaac and one of the other members of our clan were talking about something. They were like, the Camarilla, whatever, talking about all this stuff. And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Nobody explained anything to me. And he was like, "All in due time, child." I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then I went in, and that's when I just started feeding. And the best tactic I had was to find someone who was already like running from another vampire. I'd be like, "Negotiation, I would like to blindside you and catch you on your run as you come from somebody else." It was very fun. That aspect. You can tell, because after a while we start parallel.
Can I start with my view
Oh,
of
that's
the
good.
situation? So I see Isaac catch you, and I think I went over and I was like, "Yeah, you should definitely go with him. It's gonna be a good time." And then he like takes you off, and then like I'm a kindred, but I'm not super participatory. I prefer to like just observe. So that's pretty much what I was doing as my character, and I just like walk through the carnage, which I felt really badass, honestly, because I have my boots on, like vampires wear that
People are
wig,
screaming and stuff, and you're just like
Everyone's-
calmly.
Yeah, I'm just walking through the carnage, and I'm watching your character
Most
get
fun I
fed
ever
on
had.
from spot to spot
Oh
to
my
spot,
God,
and
it
you're
was-
just like stumbling through the
I'm knocking over
And in my head,
tables.
It's in slow motion as we walk through the carnage of
That's
like
awesome.
and seeing you fall down, and I like go down to help you up, and I was
Yeah.
like, "I know where your sister
Yeah.
is." It's like, "You need to go find her, like let's go." So then I lead like a stumbling, like half dead you through the carnage out on our long dark walk to the gravesite.
It was awesome.
I was like, "She's in here, I promise, like don't turn back, like let's go." And then
And literally turn the corner. You're like, "You're
and they were
right."
coming, and I was like,
Yeah, that's cool.
"I brought you someone else," and so you got to be turned by
You got to
Father
leave
Isaac.
someone in? That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was the
it
best
was my
moment.
own kind of experience, which I like, and that's the thing I think was the best about it, because you can be more introverted and like enjoy those moments. It doesn't have to be a big display all the time, and
Yeah.
it was nice to be able to have that.
They said there was over 150 people there.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where, like, if you're a little nervous, like, if you're not good, you're not going to ruin anyone's time
No.
because there's
Yeah.
1,000 things
Yeah.
going on. But also, it's not really overwhelming either. Like, it's very easy to have
You
your
can-
own narration and your own little moments, and you could just weave in and out of moments as you
Mhm.
want. So, and if you want just moment after moment after moment, like the old spark plug, you could do that. It was just a whirlwind, but it was also, yeah, if you were more of the, like, you just kind of like in character people watching and just seeing all this stuff, there's a lot of that
That
to
was
do
fun.
too. It's kind of cool just walking to a room or corner and just,
Yeah.
there's just
And just
scenes. There's all the
listening,
different
yeah.
scenes
It's
playing
like,
out.
yeah, it was super cool. But anyway, so
You're excellent.
you get fed
My
on.
favorite act, because like that song was so perfect for that, just like Sabbat carnage. So the song starts and people are going feral and insane. And I'm at the fire smoking a cigarette, having a good time. I'm tripping balls right now, and like everyone's starts screaming. And I see people like dying and stuff, and I go, "What the fuck is going on?" And I ash my cigarette in the fire, and I look around, I'm screaming for Logan, and I see this girl. Like she was like across like the farm or whatever, and she was one person I talked to in Act 1. We're talking about like, yeah, this party's lame, we're gonna like a better party or whatever, and like we had a really good connection and stuff. And I hear her like laughing, and I hear, "Oh, Sean!" I look, and she's like running towards me. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And she was like the first one to feed off me, and then I fucking fall. I'm trying to be all euphoric, and then Sparkplug sees me being bitten. He goes, "I fucking hate this guy." And
Spark plug?
yeah, because he was there for the fight, and so he fed off
That's
me.
so cool.
Someone else did, and then that's when I was screaming out for Logan, my sister, and then that's when like I was stumbling on the tables, knocking water bottles off, and that's when like you ushered me in, and you guys know what happened next, and yeah, that was.
then we just went because so the character description has a thing of like what you're like as a vampire.
Oh, we went nuts.
And everybody in our groups was basically like, you used to think you were better than everybody else. Now you know you are, and you are going to do a murder on all of them. Yep. And so we just went out.
Exact wording.
Yeah, that's what it said. And it
do a murder.
Yeah, do a murder on them. It was great writing. And so, I think the best thing that we did.
I think I know what you're saying.
I don't know what you think I'm saying. Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Okay.
But in general, we had people outside of our group who were either bloodbags or still mortal, who we had talked with earlier in the night, and like those were the people we'd follow up on now that we were kindred. So the girl who earlier had stepped up to protect us in the bathroom confrontation, on my way back in, you weren't here. I don't know if you were here for that, but on the way in, I saw her and she was like waiting to almost be like turned. And I was like, hey, thank you for helping out earlier. Anyway, I'm going to suck all your blood and leave. And then we started teaming up.
Teaming up, feeding off people.
I fed off someone. She played Cherry. We love you, Cherry.
Cherry was great.
And she was on the ground. And I was just like, you really, really want to stay on the ground. Hey, Sean.
And I was at the fire smoking a cigarette. And I was like, we gotta leave some for the others. And she goes, well, I just told her to stay on the ground. I'm like, fuck it, hold this. And I go, I just smoked. Can I feed off you? She's like, Cherry was a great sport. She, after that feeding, she like just hit her blood stick. Like, I'm done being dead. She was fun. But then we tag teamed the wrist.
Yeah.
Our blood bag.
Tessa from our poser group. And then fun. There was also the character name was Sal. He was a producer for the movie. Earlier in the night, he had taken my name down to do modeling work. And I got him running away from somebody.
That was badass.
And then later, he was by the fire. Yeah, and he was freaking out. And we were like, no,
what'd you do to me?
We were like, no, calm down. And I was like, anyway, I'm gonna feed off you again. He was great. At the end of the night, we talked to him afterwards. He was really cool.
That was the most fun. Was just
so
running.
Hungry. You said to feed once and you're fine.
No, we were like we went feral.
You're fine.
Feral.
We're party posers, man.
What times did you feed?
Twice.
Okay. I just had
I was 50%.
I had one polite feeding.
What? You didn't LARP, dude.
Anyway, our Act 3 was we missed the ballroom blitz, which kind of sucked. I wanted to be part of that, but we had because our leader had the whole plan in motion, we were all asked to wait by the grave while the blitz happened, and that's when we had our group meeting. So it sort of sucked for Daryl, guy who played the old man of the group, because we ran out of vampires to feed him before Act 3.
Yeah.
So he was just sad, and we're all vampires.
Pretty much towards the end of Act 2, she kind of explained the situation to him in character.
Yeah.
And so he just kind of sit there and wait for him to get turned in Act 3. But that also distracted us because we were all kind of doing a gang thing, meeting.
Yeah, it was a thing
of
we're all undead now, but we're still Cobras. We're gonna do this and that. So it was a cool little pep talk thing. And the dude who played Grendel, I thought did a really good job. So he was the one who was Brian. I forget what he was called, but he was already the vampire. The guy, the Bruja guy. So he's the one who gave us our official here's what it means now. Here's what you could do. And he showed us his powers. He did the strength thing, the speed thing. So we did cool, we all circled up, and he, kind of showed us what it meant to be a vampire, did all of that, while just the ballroom blitz was happening. There was chaos in there. And then, I think we got released. I don't know, what did you do after the meetup?
So, after we didn't finish doing that...
I had to sing with my sister after that.
It was a little bit after, a little bit after the ballroom happened. We went in, there's two things I think that predominantly happened. One thing was I spotted Aramon at the gate. He was kind of doing this thing for the ballroom blitz. He was keeping everybody who would try to flee for the story reasons. It would make sense that mortals might try to flee, but the gate's being blocked by a vampire with a giant sword. So he had to he had me grab one of the guys that he said he would turn earlier and drag him over there, and we beat the shit out of him. And then Aramon grabbed him and dragged him to go get turned. And that was the other guy I fed off of. And then but because he had to go like turn him,
Yeah.
he told me, he gave me his sword. I still had the axe, so I was standing there at the gate and taking over the guard duties with the sword and the axe.
Nice.
Just basically, as people came up, I had to turn them away and
I
stuff like
led
that.
you through that gate, so we got to see you in action. Very intimidating.
Yeah, and the whole while just making jokes as people got dragged out.
I snickered as I led him to his doom. It was great.
Yeah, it was
You
good.
shouldn't lighten the mood before you're hit with
So
the
yeah, I
shovel
just got
and
to stay there and just kind of laugh and just like kind of taunt people as they went and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it was really good.
Yeah, because I came back of Kindred, and you're like, now you want to fight? I was like, fuck.
Which leads to the other thing that happened, Act 2. I gave old Sean his comeuppance, and I said, yeah, we should do like a third final kind of like confrontation now that like it kind of like bounced back and forth.
That was your
between
one
the
win
night.
for the night.
Yeah,
Oh, at the end.
and I gave
after-
him
that was
his
Act
1
4.
W.
Yeah.
Oh, was that 4?
Yeah.
I guess. When does like the 4 like
The
technically
speech.
start? Okay, the speech.
Yeah, it was after the speech.
Was it
yeah.
after the speech? I thought it was
I don't
before the
know.
speech.
It was before the speech.
Oh,
'cause
was
we,
it?
we were
That's
friends
before the
afterwards.
speech.
Yeah.
Yes.
During the speech,
Yeah,
we
okay.
kind of stood together.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was before the speech.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Better for me.
we had another interaction, and we staged a fight, and I had him like win it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I didn't even got to pull knives. See, that's the thing is I wanted so badly to be like super confrontational and do all that, but I don't know, because we were like there on business and our leader already knew what was going on. I was like, there's so many times where, oh, that was Act 1. That was the thing I kind of skipped. I tried after Veronica, your leader, like mouthed off to me.
Yeah.
I got all the Cobras together. I'm like, let's go, like,
Fuck with these
take
kids.
all of the
Yeah.
money from these rich kids. I'm like, I know they're loaded. Their pockets are loaded. They can't do anything. And you were at the bar, so I had Ramona or Jed or whatever, like, hey, get in a drug deal with them. Like, so she was like, I think she did a drug deal with you. So I'm like, keep them here. She was doing that to keep you there. So I got everyone else to come in, surround you at the bar,
Because,
and
okay,
get you.
I remember you came up, and
Mhm.
she was like, no, it's cool, I got it. And I was like, what's happening?
No, I was gonna.
I just got more
asses.
candy.
Yeah, so I went and got everyone, but then there was another moment our boss was like, well, everything seems to be fine here. It's just take it easy, enjoy the party. I'm like, I don't want to.
I don't want
He
to
wanted to fight.
party.
Yeah, so many times. But also my character was such a yes man to her that like I couldn't like,
Yeah, you're
I didn't want to be like, but.
playing.
So I didn't really get to fight anyone or do anything. Because I was trying to, there's newer, even the business people. Anytime I ran into some of your guys earlier, and like, I purposely would like brush people or like get like people were in their way. I'd be like, excuse you. And they'd be like, what'd you say to me? And I would like, I believe you heard me. And then every time she was like around to be like, hey, he's cool. He's one of our business contacts. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm like, just somebody. But after
That spark plug on.
3, he was a world. Who knows where he was? He probably was already on.
was wild. He was sprinting around doing
That's why he
stuff.
I don't think he was there for our group.
Was he
thing.
did he have a beard?
No.
No.
Oh, that
He
guy
was a young blonde.
people
blonde
up
kid.
the entire
Yeah.
time too.
No, he was young. I think he was actually 18. Like he was one of the younger people there. But half the time we would have like a gang meeting. If he didn't walk off in the middle of it, it was just like. But he also probably had the most fun because anytime we tried having like a moment, something would happen and he would just go. Every time I saw him, he had new blood on him.
Oh, yeah.
He was just more amped.
He probably like broke the record for feeding off the most amount of
He
people.
went wild, but he looked like he had
wild.
so much
That's the way
fun.
to do it.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And I part of my character also wanted to like chase him down because I also be like, hey, we're not supposed to cause trouble, so I wanted to try to like control him, but I don't know. We were in group meetings.
There was a couple of times where like there'd be like a lull, and I'd look over at Lullaby Zach's character. I'd be like, "We should go find Sparky."
Yeah.
We're gonna be up to
Anytime there was
something
a
good.
lull, it's like let's find him. He's getting into trouble.
We know he's up to something.
So when you were guarding, that's
good.
when so I pulled my sister and her vampire side, and they got turned. So I went in for their turning to be there and be like, hey, blah blah blah, like. I don't know what else to do, but just let it happen. It's better this way where, like, we could control it rather than just getting murdered out there. So we had, like, a cool confrontation where she got some, like, strong powers, so she, like, shoved me, and I, like, went flying. And then she, like, hugged me, and it's like, you're an asshole, but I guess we're in this. And I was like, well, we have time to fix our problems now. It's like, we have nothing but time to work on our issues.
That's good.
And so
That's cool.
we had, like,
Very
a cool
sweet.
moment with that.
Aw.
And then with her vampire, I pulled her aside. I'm like, you actually seem like she likes you a lot, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, but wait a minute. I was like, you're not, this is all on her own accord, right? I'm like, you're not using your powers on her, are you? She's like, no. Not like good enough for me.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah.
But then we got to do a thing. We kind of talked about it in Discord before. She's like, before I was like part of her first feeding, like the older brother showed my little sister, like, this is how you feed from someone. But also,
So
my guy
cute.
didn't like feeding. So I remember I went up to a woman. I'm like, ma'am, if I could just have a moment. Like, so I was polite.
Say it in the voice, though.
Yeah.
Use the voice you were using.
Okay, I did. But yeah, I just.
I can't.
So I brought them
Ma'am,
into
if I could just have a
a
moment
room,
in
and she
time.
sat down, and then like, so my sister and her vampire lady like went in and sat her down, and now I'm like, now don't take too much. I'm like, you're still my little sister, not a monster. And then what we're discussing this while the blood bag was like, what? Like what? I'm like, ma'am, it'll be fine. So like they fed, and I guarded the door, and so many people like they were like making a lot of noises in there. Like I guess the blood bag was super into it, and, like moaning and stuff, and like my sister the vampire like making out during it. So it was a cool scene, and I'm awkwardly the older brother like looking in.
Y'all done
Yeah,
yet?
seeing them like kiss and feed, and just be like. And numerous people walked by and like tried looking around me, and I'm like, move along. That was my act 3.
I think our Act 3 ended with, like, we did, like, an early Baldery, I think, right?
Oh, we did
Yeah.
do a Valdery. So
Yeah.
a Valdery is where it's like a Sabbat ritual where all the older vampires put their blood in the cup, pass around. It's like the priest does the ritual, and you all drink out of it.
That was
like,
4.
We did ours
That was
early.
supposed to be 4. We did ours.
Yeah, we
Hang
did
on.
ours at the end of Act 3.
What?
Just the older vampires?
Yeah.
Because we all put our blood in.
Yeah, that's why yours didn't work.
Yep, that's why you guys did a bad Baldery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did, like, an early Baldery with,
Our whole pack, my sister,
Uh-huh.
her vampire, and then
the people who turned us, I
the
think.
war pack. No, it wasn't the people who turned us, because that was the drama.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
So we had, our thing that our boss set up to was like other vampires turned us, but we weren't like, we didn't belong to them. We decided to make our own war pack. So we're all in this thing getting ready to do the Valdery, and some of the other sires come to collect the people they turned, and our boss was like, no, like we're doing our thing. Yeah, you turned them, that doesn't make them your property. It's about or free, fuck off. So they were getting super pissed about it, and they were getting to like this heated argument.
And that kept her busy for the rest of the night.
Yeah, that was what she did the rest of the time.
Let's just negotiate.
Eventually, the guy just was like, you know what, I'll be back. So it wasn't like resolved, but it was like a threat, like we're gonna deal with this in a little bit. So he went. We did our Valdery, which I liked our Valdery because like the older vampires had like cool speeches of like Cain and blah blah blah, and with this blood. And then I think I was the next one to get it. And like, I ain't much for fancy words, but bottoms up. So all the like cobras just had like a quip and a drink. And
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was really funny. Is almost all of the Cobras were just like, fuck
Yeah,
it.
we're all like, okay. And we said something dumb to say, and then the other vampires had like cool mini speeches. But
yeah, all the other people turned, like, gave some sort of, like,
yeah, which
thing.
I think was a nice difference between the actual war pack and the cobras.
I'm glad all the Cobras were of the same mindset. We're like, this is kind of...
Yeah, we're all like, this is culty shit. We're like, we stabbed each other, we can't die, we're good. I don't know who Cain is. I remember I just kept saying, like, the biblical Cain? I just kept...
he's like, Cain, like, from the Bible, you know? I was like, Ole Otto, I fear God.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I'm like, I'm still going to church.
So I said to him when he told me that.
And then, did you do Act 3? Or was your Act 3? I think you did yours.
Yeah.
And one out.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I had one last L in Act 3.
Okay.
Oh, you got another L?
I got another
You were the
L.
L King, man.
So I guess it happened in Act 2, but then I realized it in Act 3. Kindred, we were both wearing the same Dare shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, you
yeah.
really, really want to turn that shirt around. I'm like, agreed. She's like, I just think it's fun. I'm like, no, it's funny. And so I turned my Dare shirt around and everything. So for like the rest of Act 2, I just had the black shirt. And then when I turned, I go, that mother... And so I saw the fire, and we just laughed. She's like, that's a good prank. I thought you might like it. Like, all right, that's good. And then she found me on Twitter.
Yeah, she's seen us.
It was
You're
great.
awesome.
It was awesome. It was a very good prank.
And then Act 4, the ultimate prank. So Act 4 was they gathered everyone to like the dance floor, and by then they had like a blood fountain,
Blood,
with, like, a carcass going.
Oh, yeah.
They had like hanging
intestines
corpses with
come
like
in,
their
yeah.
intestines out.
Play
They
the
did a
song
lot
from
of
Blade.
yeah, really cool.
Yeah, that was at the end of Act 3.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Blade song. Yeah.
So the fake blood that you've been using is made with cranberry juice and a couple other things.
The problem with that is that it's very sticky. And so what we did is we knew the blood in the blood fountain was not made with juice and was instead like water and paint. So we went and washed our hands.
Oh, we were just
off,
washing our hands like
The communal fountain.
the Bahamut statue and stuff.
which is like we like washed our hands in people's food essentially.
Was the shower before the speech?
Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
so they had actual like a blood shower that literally like sprayed on the dance
Yeah.
floor.
Straight out of
blood.
Blade 1.
It was cold, so I don't think any of us got it.
No,
Yeah,
it was
we're
like
all babies.
it was like 40 degrees and I was already not wearing
Yeah.
enough.
Me and her
By the end of
got our
Act 3,
faces splashed.
It was
Oh.
getting rough.
Because you can
Alright,
opt out. You can
yeah.
do the shower, or there's like a bucket that they'll just like put on your face.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what me and her did.
I
We
did.
just-
Somebody, I took my glasses off, and someone just took this bucket and started splashing
Yeah.
blood on us.
She
so
looked like-
it was
Yeah.
cool.
It
It
was
was like
pretty
right
cool.
across.
Yeah, so they had like a rave. They played this song from Blade, sprayed everyone down with blood.
Everyone's
That was,
going nuts
cool. I
with
think
dance
someone
floor.
took a video. One of the
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw the DJ. The
I-
guy that was
Oh,
the
from
DJ.
the
I haven't seen it
Yeah.
on Twitter yet.
Yeah, he put it.
Did he
there's
put
one
it?
It's on
Instagram.
Twitter.
It's on
that's
Insta.
It's also on Twitter.
Yeah, that was Act 3, and then Act
And Act
4
4
kicked
was
off.
so that's when they gathered everyone for like a sermon, to where Matt gave the whole thing of like, hey, we're gonna go siege us and fuck up the Camarilla. It was super like
Awesome.
culty,
Yeah.
to where they'd be like, praise Cain, and everyone yelled praise Cain, like fuck the Camarilla, and everyone like fuck the Camarilla, like what do we do, kill? So there's a lot of cool like call and response stuff that was really like. I think our gang was all together, and we were all looking at each other like we're all violent criminals, but like this shit's culty and weird. But so I was kind of hoping that like, because we were right in front, that like I would be very obviously uncomfortable. I was waiting for someone to like call me out, but there's too much going on, so I did it.
Yeah.
I
It
was
was cool.
standing next to Waldo, hero, and Waldo goes like this, leans over and goes, "There's about to be a chant. They're gonna say, what are we gonna do? Win? How are we gonna do it? Kill." And I was like, "Good looking out, Waldo," because I had no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think
A
I did
hero.
the chant.
Yeah.
I was
did the chant.
nervous.
And then the
was
sermon
with you.
kind of ended with the Black Hand. He was like the kind of leader. Of
He
it.
was the
He
coolest.
aced it.
Oh, the priest.
The
Yeah,
priest.
yeah,
He-
that guy
Like, he was
Awesome.
nailed
so
the
good.
speech.
Like,
the mic stopped working. He just threw
Oh,
it
yeah,
aside,
yeah.
boomed his voice out. It was
So-
good.
Awesome.
It was good.
I was like, yeah, I'm Sabbat now. Yeah,
Yeah.
wherever you go, I'll go.
He gave a real nice speech.
Yeah.
And like he had the pauses, and you're like, just the energy about it was just.
My like the role play I had with him in like the first or second act or whatever it was
Lucky.
so good. It was like the best because like he just did all the acting like and he like his face was so believable. It was just really
Because
cool.
he was outside when you were ushering me out, right? Because you're like,
Yeah,
I'm taking
and he,
him, and
like,
he gave like a speech
he-
like, remember sheep, and I'm like,
Yeah.
who's this?
Yeah. 'Cause we'd had like a long conversation earlier.
That was cool.
Dude was.
That was the
solid.
first time I saw him, and he just gave a
I-
speech,
yeah,
and I'm like, man,
Because he was
this is
hiding on the
I mean-
tables in the
Yeah.
shadows a bunch.
Was
He would
he?
like stand
I didn't
on
even
the
see
tables.
that.
Oh.
Dude, and I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? all
Yeah,
the
I met
time?
him a couple of times. Armand introduced me to him, and then I also ran into him at the gate, and I had a conversation with him when I was taking
Yeah.
over duties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool, just like rallying, like Sabbat, blah blah blah. And then I wanted so bad, I almost did it. So at one point, Matt's like, "If anyone has a problem with that, just speak up, and we'll let you go." And it's just
walk
quiet.
away.
I'm like, I want someone to try it because you know something's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
came really close, but I'm like, that's so out of character.
Yeah.
And it would fuck up. We had our whole gang thing, but I'm like, somebody walk away so I see what happens. Cause that'd be cool. I was hoping someone would, but also you would know you died, then you can't do the rest of this stuff.
Yeah.
So you could be a ghost. But.
Yep.
You could be ghost.
So yeah, there's that, and then the rest of Act 4. That's when things were. The pacing fell out a little
yeah,
bit.
the rest of Act 4,
So-
like each of the individual like groups
You're
and
supposed
like
to go to like your
Valkyries.
sires on their war
Yeah,
packs.
that's when everybody else was doing the
Valkyries.
Valkyries. All right, we didn't even do a Valkyrie because like there was so much fighting about who was supposed to do the Valkyrie of who, so that we ended up just not doing a second Valkyrie. The Cobras didn't.
Yeah.
And then you guys probably got yours in.
Yeah, we
So
was like-
ours was amazing where we're like, okay, we got to put together and so we
Did like the poser party stay together, or were you just
Only
No.
three of us. There's only three
Okay.
of us in there.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty uniquely a Cobra thing that we like made sure like doesn't matter who turned us,
Yeah,
we're
no.
together.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yep.
we were Tsunichi,
Yep.
which was cool.
Oh yeah, everyone said what they were. I was Bruja. Makes sense.
I was one that I don't
You-
remember.
You're an Asamite.
Asamite. That's it. Yeah.
Or,
You were Torador.
Yeah, I knew it was
Welcome
one
to
that
the
I
club.
actually hadn't heard of yet. It wasn't like actually like a playable one.
Yeah. So he was the actual Black Hand. The Black Hand are like the assassin, whatever. That's what he
Yeah.
was.
I think you
Okay.
can.
I did a lot of reading on them.
No.
Oh, and Ace might,
Yeah.
Did a ton
Because
of reading.
in V5 they're in Camarilla.
So ours was
Or
fun.
Banu Hakim. That's what they're called.
Yeah, ours was
Or
pretty cool.
one because
Yeah,
one there
that's the new
In the new
V5
one,
name
yeah.
is Banu Hakim. Ace
Wait,
might
and
is
who?
still one.
and you.
All right, go ahead.
So we went to what is it? Where you drink all the blood?
Okay, so Balder.
Baldry.
Yep.
And we had a member of the Camarilla in our midst who was like had turned, so we had a
Turncoat,
thing.
yeah.
So Father Isaac, our sire, was basically like, so anyway, everybody's gonna come out. Zamichi don't come out often, but they do come out, they win, and I know that we're gonna take Austin because we have an ace in the hole. That guy takes his hat off. We all like get our blood in there, we're drinking, and Corinna, who's in there, takes like a big drink, and they're like, whoa, don't take it all. And somebody says the best thing that I heard all night, which is, hat's 10 gallons, she can take it, we got some to spare.
God damn it.
It was so
I'm
good.
pretty sure that was Alexander Ward who said that.
It was 10 gallons. No, because he told her not to drink that much.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but it was so good. Then there was a fight for who gets to be like the
Yeah, the two, like the
leader.
Nosferatu, or the makeup, the
They
Zamichi
had-
makeup, like dude with the glasses and like the red
Yeah,
pointy
the
ears.
suit.
There were a couple people that had really
They were
cool
trying to fight
prosthetics.
for
I
a
can't remember.
position. I can't remember either. But turned out one guy fell, so he cut the back off of the other
He's
Zamichi.
gonna wear his flesh.
Wore the flesh. It was pretty fucking metal.
Right.
Yeah, it was a cool clan.
Mm-hmm.
What was your Balder like?
There are a lot of really memorable characters in it. I had the clown,
Oh no.
the Santa Claus.
Oh no!
What?
What was your pack?
She was Toreador, weren't
What was
you?
the name of them? Because there's like the Black Angels. There's like the Shadow Sea. I saw them. I'm like, I wonder what the name of that pack is. That's all I was trying to think.
I never heard a name.
Yeah, we just got the name of the
Wild Bullets.
Wildfire.
That's a good name. Yeah, and then the dude that was my sire that we called Colonel Sanders. He had a white suit.
Mr. Valentine.
Mr. Valentine.
Yeah.
That's around.
Put some respect on his name.
I know, like it was just like everyone had a character, and so it would be weird if you did. But anyway, so yeah, we had like all those kind of elders in our group, and it was pretty chill. I think it was pretty
Santa Claus and clowns. Chill.
Chill,
it was
Balder.
a little nightmarish, but yeah, all the elders did what they were supposed to do, and it was pretty. My sire was the priest, so that was kind of cool. And yeah, I don't know, it wasn't anything crazy. Like I know some people were like told what to do by their like leader dude, like afterwards, like to go fight or blah blah. I just told us to go party, so we drifted away into the night.
Drift away?
nice.
And watched a little bit of the fighting and stuff, but
We
mostly looked forward to the wedding.
everybody was excited about this wedding, and I hadn't heard about it until way later.
So yeah,
Well,
Act 4
yeah,
had
that
a
was
bunch
like-
of
so-
other things after
so-
the Valdery. Like
so-
there's a bunch of like mini events.
We
after
had
it.
in our laundry, we were all kind of standing. We didn't really know like what was happening next, and
Don't.
Corinna was like, "Why don't we all go around and introduce ourselves, say what we bring to the table?" So we were in this big circle, all newly vampires, like introducing ourselves and saying. And so it was the two of us, and then Melissa was the other party poser who was in our group, and all of us in a row were like, "I have money, I have money, I have money." And that was like our defining.
She's like, good, because I literally just put mine in the
I
fire.
threw all mine in the fire.
When I got bit, I threw my money in the fire.
I saw Sparkplug do that. Our vault. So we went to do another Valdery, but like we just did this, so it's sort of like we're not sure what to do. And also our elders weren't with us then, but we did like an out of character, like hey, like, or we did an in character first, like yeah, we stick together. I don't care what vampire comes from us. Cobra's first, and then like out of character, our leader makes sure like just that you're okay with that because she's like they're about to get pissed that we're not going with them. And, like, it was mostly Trey was the one that, like, his sire really was mad that he wasn't with them. So we're like, are you cool with that? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, good, because you're the one who's going to suffer. And I was thinking it'd be a vampire showdown that we'd probably lose because we were all new vampires. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let's stand up to them. Because we were a big group of 7 of us. And a lot of the war packs were like 4 people. But I'm like, we'll probably still lose because they've been vampires. But I'm like, I just want that confrontation finally of like, no, fuck you, we're a war pack, we're cobras. And then be like, all right, we're time to die. So we all agreed, like, all right, no matter what happens, we're together. And then it happened. His sire came, except this time he came with the rest of his war pack. And then our leader. But it didn't turn into like a confrontation so much as they yelled at each other a lot. But it was kind of cool. We got to do the thing where like we all slowly like stood behind her and just like did the gang pose. Where like
comb your hair too.
Yeah, like the leader's arguing and you just see like cobra after cobra line up behind her. But they talked a lot of politics that I, in and out of game, wasn't super understanding of.
Yeah. They went on for a long time.
Yeah.
I think I eventually kind of wandered off because I was like, okay, this isn't going to end.
Yeah, so it didn't end up as like, I feel like the Cobras would like fucking just like swing on him eventually, but they just argued. But she won the argument, so I guess we didn't have to fight him, and we probably would have lost. Then that happened, and then my sister. So I didn't realize the vampires with my sister wasn't an original vampire until then. I thought she was like one of the OG war packs, but she just got turned very early on too. So then both of them had the same sire, and she was some rich-looking, had like fur coat or whatever, came. And by that point, it was just me who like wasn't an arguer there to try to like, no, I got to do the same argument but with you, but I can't really do it very well. But then our leader Rocky jumped in and said that too. But that I wish I knew what war pack she was in. Whenever like fancy vampire came to get my sister, had a lot of good zingers on us. There's a lot of good things. She's like, oh, enjoy. Like I don't know. She was very catty, but like it was good. She did a very good job of like tearing us down, but she also couldn't fight us. So our sister stayed with us. But that was like the last time we did like a gang. We just sort of
after that it kind of got a little bit looser. I mean, there's quite a few events that happened. They brought out werewolves.
Can we say what we were doing when the werewolves ran out?
Sure. What were you doing?
I was showing everyone the chicken again.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That was when we were both looking.
No, we were like, I showed them the chicken, and then somebody walks in. They're like, I know there's a chicken, but there's also 2 werewolves out there.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Yeah.
those chickens still crazier.
Me and Carmine are trying to look for our friends, and he's like, "Fuck it, let's see what these how do you word it? These yeah,
Let's check out the dog fight.
Let's go check out this dog fight." I'm like, "Is it a dog fight?" I'm like, "Oh, werewolves!"
And one of the dudes who was a werewolf was jacked. Dude, props to you, dude.
I talked to him earlier.
Super real.
He was there at my gravesite, and I'm like, blah blah. Talked to him about being a vampire. He's like, oh, I'm not one of you. And I'm like, what? What are you then? And he wouldn't like tell me he's a werewolf, but he was sort of. So when someone says a werewolf, I'm like, I think I know who he is. I'm like, how will we spot him? And he's like, you'll know, because I didn't realize I went in full werewolf costume.
It was so cool.
So I walked out there
cool.
and seeing like 2 giant actual werewolves. Like, yeah, I spotted him.
That was awesome.
Yep, it was pretty cool. So that was one of the events that happened. So there's like from there, it was a lot of like kind of spread out like.
It was sort of on the war
packs
packs to sort of guide the rest of the night. To like you have your childer and you sort of create your own events for what you want to do until we burn a place.
So yeah, the werewolves coming out was one of them. There was a guy who read the Book of Nod and went nuts and like tried stealing some things. And they ended up like executing him in front of everybody.
No, that was the Bahari.
That was
the Bahari was
the heretic.
I watched that.
I thought that was like
I watched
thing.
that one.
They like read the Book of Nod or something.
No. So he worships the Dark Mother
Lily.
instead of Cain.
Oh, okay.
So
Lily.
And so yeah, he took off, and everyone's like, Bahari, get him, and people chased him. I watched his torture session, which our dude Grendel
I
was
watched
there.
that too. Yep.
And yeah,
A couple of cobras executed. I went up there when. He
Oh yeah,
got
the
executed.
cobras were the ones who like took him over and like held him down, and they executed. Yeah, that was cool. That guy also had my favorite line, which was they're like, praise Cain. He goes, not my daddy.
That was so good.
That was like his last
Not
words.
My daddy.
Not my daddy.
They killed.
So they like the public execution of the heretic. And that chick came out with like the samurai sword.
That was cool.
Yeah, she did a speech.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there was like a fighting pit towards the end.
Yep.
Where
Yeah, so-
Somebody
I think-
kept yelling Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson during one of the fights.
I don't know. I think you were the only one. So there was a wedding where one of the Black Angels had like their wedding there. That was cool. We watched that, and that's when you
Got really emotional.
Do you want to just talk about what you did?
Yeah, no, I just thought it would be an interesting, like
Character
really
choice?
provocative and like it added a layer of complexity to Jorge, who had just been like a tough guy, wisecracking, and just kind of like picking fights and calling people out to really be moved by a wedding. Like I thought that was like it made sense to me in the moment. So I had Jorge just get real emotional. He was like, ole vato, this is beautiful, and stuff like that. And it might have gotten some pretty big laughs.
You said, what was your line about
Not the
respecting the
institution.
institution?
Respect the
the
institution.
clown guy and another guy were sitting a couple feet behind us. Clown guy just kept laughing, and then the other guy was like, "This is bullshit. This is like heretic or heretic or whatever.
Heretical.
I don't know, heretical. Yeah, well, something like that." And they kept going for like a while, and I turned around, and the entire time I'm doing my like I love it bit, and so I turn around and I'm like, "Hey guys, have some respect for the fucking institution, man."
And they left, didn't
and they left. They left pretty quick
No,
after
it
that.
The best
It
part
worked
was
100%.
you walked away.
Oh yeah.
Because you were like, I'm too emotional, I gotta get out of here.
Oh,
You
well,
were like 40 feet away and I can still hear you.
Well, the
Well,
best
yeah, I
part
was doing an inner monologue. Well, before I did that, I pulled out like my little tear jar. I dabbed it on my eyes, so I had
blood.
like just tears running down my face because everybody's like watching the wedding, and then I choked up real hard and like started like doing like the
We
weep.
all turned. I saw Jason, Carl, Alexander Ward just look at you. You have blood in your eyes. Like, sorry, man. and just everyone broke.
Yeah, the whole crowd just kind of, and I did like a separation monologue myself back to being steady. Walk back over
Wallace
there.
is like
It
a
was good.
wedding's happening. Like brought a bride
They-
out, and they.
It was a
fed
pretty
on
cool
her,
fucking
and, like,
wedding.
it was cool.
That was cool. I liked the wedding, like
But-
genuinely. Like
It was
as an act, it was
the
pretty
juxtaposition of you are a tough guy who's crying in a wedding, which is already like a kind of funny, premise. But then the fact that that wedding is like a murder wedding
Yeah.
where they're
People
killing someone.
Uh-huh.
Everyone's a vampire
And
and
we're
all
like-
just got murdered.
Yeah,
He
at
still
that
thinks
point,
it's
there's just
beautiful.
pretty much almost all vampires
It's
around.
just
Yeah.
sadness.
Yeah, it was good. That was pretty fun. So that was another big event that happened. And then they had the fighting pits. The werewolf like tore off like a head of his Chad vampire. That was
Oh,
pretty cool.
Was it the guy in his collar pops on?
Oh yeah, and a baseball
We-
cap. Yeah.
Veronica and I were beefing with him all night. We kept calling him a Chad, and it was like 98. I do not think like the term Chad.
I think his name
even-
was Chad though. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
we didn't know if his
No,
name
it
was
was
Chad.
Sterling.
Oh, was it?
That was cousin Sterling.
Oh, that was because
I thought I heard somebody say that his name was
There
Chad.
probably was. There was a fraternity group there, so
Yeah.
I'm sure there was someone.
We just
Chad and a
we
Brad
just kept
is what I
calling
heard.
him Chad. It was very fun.
Yeah, what was the actual fight? I didn't actually. At that point, I think all of us sort of gathered, and we were all sort of like cold, so we all gathered around a fire. You guys had like your foil blankets, and we just sort of. I mean, it was still nice. We were just like chilling, but more like out of character, talking to some people.
The problem is, I think
besides
the
you.
fourth act kind of like it was too long. I think it was probably the longest of the acts.
Yeah.
And like while the events were happening pretty quick, it was okay, but they ended kind of like faster. And then the only thing that was happening was that fighting pit, and it happened for a long time. And it got real quiet in like the town area, and everybody kind of started breaking character because it was like so cold, and everybody was like huddling around the fire. And so yeah, I think the only thing else was like I went down there at the fighting pit and kind of watched that while you guys kind of chilled up there.
I had to leave you because I couldn't do.
Oh,
I couldn't be
I mean,
alone.
the whole time
when
I
you're
was just
alone with
Hang on.
Jorge, yeah, he's like, I love. I can't do it,
Don't
man.
do the act.
I can't do it, but and you just kept being turned on because Drake Belmont was fighting.
Oh yeah, the actor guy was fighting. He fought like twice,
Oh.
I think. He had
Yeah.
some cool like little fight things.
He kept
going on.
yelling
It was
at
fun.
people to take off their shirts,
He
and
had
they
a-
took off their shirts.
He had a cool moment where, so the thing he wanted to set up with the rest was, which I think happened. I sort of put the wheels in motion, but I wasn't there to see it. Was right before the ballroom blitz, he's going to get like handcuffed. So then the massacre broke out. So he has to run away in
That's so
handcuffs.
That's cool.
And then he was thrown in the grave, and then like comes out of the grave and breaks the handcuffs.
It's so
which
fucking
I
awesome.
hope happened for you, sir, because that would have been awesome.
That's choice.
I told someone to arrest you, and I hopefully it worked. But yeah, and then at the very end, we all gathered outside, and they gave our like little speech, and they like burnt the place down.
There's real fire.
Which there was actually a really big real fire around the
Yep.
perimeter.
They
set up.
torched like there's like a front fence that kind of
Yeah.
blocks and like is a barrier to like the little town thing they made up,
Yeah.
and they just burnt that fence that
Yeah.
they erected.
And that was it. And then there was a brunch next morning we didn't go to. We had our own, and we drove 14 hours. And
We had to drive, so-
Yeah. But all in all, I enjoyed it a lot.
I had a really
Yeah,
fun
for a
time.
first LARP, I was so nervous going in, but I want to go back. I thought that was so much fun. So much fun.
All right. Any final thoughts, opinions, words of wisdom, favorite moments that were covered?
It's really easy to get a laugh when everybody's in a vampire.
And you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. yeah.
I would say if we do it again next year, I'd like to do it as a group. I think that would be a lot of fun. or something, because party posers, we were just partying. I would like to do.
Yeah, it was interesting. We all got pretty different experiences
Yeah.
because we were spread out, but
I would like to have something to do during those
knowing
acts.
what we're doing and having the confidence.
We
and
could have
me
had,
being
like-
just such a creative force.
Yeah.
I could, yeah.
And me and Zach
Such a
becoming such a creative force.
Yeah, we could
Is that
easily
it?
guide it to be a great evening. For
Yeah,
us.
we could really like take over a LARP and just ruin it.
All right, yoiko.
No, I would say one of my biggest pieces of it, find people who you interact with early on and follow up with them. Find people who you feel like are like there to get the same thing out of it. Like, we're definitely there, I think, to like have a good story move forward.
Yeah, I just wanted things to happen.
Yeah, and then there's some people are there for like the escapism element. You know, there's like a lot of different reasons people play. Find people who are playing for the same reason you are early on, and then keep following up with them. Like if you have a tie with somebody, it's really fun to come back and play on that later when you can like maybe screw them over with it.
Yeah, and this was cool too because I think it was so many, like we said earlier, brand new LARPers, but it felt like I don't know, everyone like fully committed. It was really cool.
It was really awesome.
All right, we did it. We are great LARPers.
It's only a matter of time before we're paid to do it professionally. That'll happen.
Bye.
Jorge's not gonna be able to watch that.
Jorge.
But yeah, overall, 10 out of 10 would recommend. But yeah, that's it for that. Now we're gonna play normal vampires sometime with, luckily, not any of our LARP characters. Although
Yet.
this Cowboy, Cowboy
That
Andy
wasn't.
might
This
take
isn't
it.
your character, but whatever you're doing right
That
now.
was good.
This is just me.
All right,
I'm just.
bye.
Bye, Joiko.